The class of 2018 is pleased to introduce this year's inspirational speaker, Tom Pace. In 1987, Tom Pace had $62.53 to his name and a solid reputation as a failure. He was 30 years old and had a string of 30 jobs that he hadn't been able to hold, along with failed attempts at college. He had entered adulthood with the ability to read at a fourth grade level, and the fact that he had attention deficit disorder and dyslexia did not help the situation. He had hit rock bottom in his life, total despair, depression, wanting to give up, and wanting to commit suicide. Today, Tom Pace is an avid reader, having read over 500 books on the topics of mental, physical, and spiritual wellness, financial security, and relationships. He has read his favorite book, The Purpose-Driven Life, over 100 times. Tom is also the founder and CEO of the Pacebutler Corporation, a multi-million-dollar international company. Tom is happily married with 2 wonderful daughters. He enjoys reading, running, and skiing, as well as mentoring numerous individuals from diverse backgrounds. Tom gives a major credit of his success to mentoring, which is the reason he wrote the book, Mentor, The Kid and the CEO. The book is based on actual events from his life experiences and passes on the same principles that he used to create health, wealth, prosperity, and significance. Please welcome Tom Pace.
Congratulations. You really did it. You graduated high school. When I went to high school many years ago, I missed 40 days of my senior year. I got an illness and kept me out of school, and then the days that I wasn't sick that I missed, I just ditched school. When I graduated from high school, I graduated reading at a 4th grade level. And during my junior and senior year in high school, I thought about quitting a lot. I would wake up in the morning and I would think, I am not going to school today. And my mother, and some of the mothers and men in this room know what it's like to walk into a high schooler and say, get up, you got to go to school. And my mom did that repeatedly. I was able to graduate high school because I didn't give up, no matter what my mind told me to do. And as you leave from this high school and go out into the real world, there are going to be many times that you're going to want to give up. Don't give up. I get a great opportunity, and I've been, ever since I was asked to come to speak here, I've spent hours of the day thinking about what I wanted to say to you guys. And everything I've thought about for the last couple of months has been positive, uplifting, as the bulletin says, inspirational things. But for the last couple of months, when I don't think about this school and about the things that you guys have been doing, I've been focused on my problems, not on the successes of my life, but on my problems. And one of the things that I thought about when I was thinking about your school is I was thinking about some of the things that I've overcome. One of the things is the fact that I graduated high school reading at a 4th grade level. Some people say, how did you graduate high school reading at a 4th grade level? Some of you know the answer to that. I cheated. Really? I cheated. In the real world, when we have problems, when we don't know the answer, we don't have to cheat. We can ask people the answer to our problems, and it's acceptable. And we can read books that have the answers to our problems. And today, with modern technology, we can get on the internet and we can find solutions to problems. No matter what the problems are now, we can learn. I spoke at a high school in Chicago a few years back, and the principal of that school gave me a book. She said, "You should read this book. This book is an incredible book." And it had a very plain-looking cover. You've heard, never judge a book by its cover. I judged that book by its cover. I sat it in my library at my office and let it sit there until I read another book. And in that book, it referred to the book that principal gave me. The title of that book that the principal gave me was called Mindset. If you've had an opportunity to read it, that's wonderful. If you've not had an opportunity to read it, I recommend it. In that book, it shared with me that no matter if I'm born of average intelligence, I can become more intelligent. I can become more intelligent by the books that I read and the people that I associate with. We get the opportunity to choose our friends. We get the opportunity to choose the people that we associate with, who we spend our time with on social media. Earlier in this program, it was mentioned about your story. We've all got a few chapters written in our story. There's a gentleman named Zig Ziglar. He's from Yazoo, Mississippi. And Zig Ziglar planted a seed within me. He said, everyone should write a book. Not necessarily for what the book will do for others, but to write the book for us. And to write a book that we would be proud of, about our life experiences. Every one of the people in the audience have had ups and downs, tremendous successes and tremendous lows. Life is a struggle. There are no free lunches. I believe that if I want to be successful, I have to take massive amounts of action. What I have learned in my 61 years so far is that if I want to be successful, my philosophy is very simple. Have an idea, take action, and stay committed. Ask for help from other people. In 1987, when I started the company, I only had $62.53. When I was 14 years old, I needed a job, and the only job that was available to me was a job in a barber shop shining shoes. And the only money I made was when I had a customer and they paid me. And back then, they paid 35 cents for me to shine their shoes. Shining shoes in my neighborhood was not a high-class job. A lot of my friends would never consider a job shining shoes. I shined shoes for about 3 or 4 months, and one of my customers asked me if I wanted to work in his restaurant. And I said, yes, sir. He gave me a job as a dishwasher at age 14. A month or so later, the busboy quit, and he asked me if I'd like to bus tables. I said, yes, sir. A few months later, the waiter quit, and he asked me if I wanted to wait tables. I was 14 years old. I said, yes, sir. I worked until 10:30 at night, and then drove home on my motorcycle in the winter, and then I would decide whether or not the next morning I wanted to go to school. And there were a lot of times I didn't want to go to school, but I went most of the time. And then one night I came to work, and Mr. Eccles asked me, would you like to be the night manager of this restaurant at age 14? And I said, yes, sir. I started as a shining shoes. I ended up being the night manager of his restaurant, a successful restaurant in Oklahoma City. I do not believe there are any dead-end jobs. Once you graduate from formal school, continue to read. Read as much as you can. I've now read over 850 nonfiction books. Even though I'm dyslexic, even though I have attention deficit disorder, I've learned to adapt. I've learned to stick with it. A lot of people say, you must really enjoy reading, Tom. I have 1,000 other things I'd rather do than read. But the knowledge that I get from those books has allowed me to be successful in so many areas of my life. I always carry a book with me. And one of the books that really changed my life is this book right here. It's got a really catchy title, I think. It's called Think and Grow Rich. It came out in 1938. And I brought 200 copies of this book for each one of you to have a copy of this book. If you don't read it at this time, put it in your library, put it in your room. And someday, you'll want to pick this book up and read. Not only will it help us to become financially rich, but it'll help you to have a wealth of friends and family and have success in many areas of your life, including spiritual. The book that he mentioned earlier, that I've read over 100 times, is The Purpose-Driven Life. I brought 200 copies of this book also. These books are both on a table upstairs into the cafeteria, I think is where we put them. And so afterwards, please pick up a copy of each or have one of your family members pick this up for you. I want to share one last thing, the importance of mentoring. I became a multi-millionaire in 2001. In 2002, I lost it all. I'd been working since 1987 with our company, and I walked in 2002, and the CFO of our company explained that a class action lawsuit had been filed against our company. I did not know what a class action lawsuit was at the time, but I learned very quickly this was a bad deal. They sued us for over $200 million. I did not have $200 million, but I had a couple of million. They got every penny that I had. Not directly, but indirectly in fees and law fees and all that stuff. And we settled for a total of less than $500. I was totally broke and in debt $1.8 million. Going from being worth millions of dollars to now owing over almost $2 million, it was quite a swing. I called a gentleman on the phone to rent some space to move our company that was large into a smaller space, and on the phone he said, "You sound depressed." I said, "I am." He said, "Let's have lunch." I met him at lunch, and I walked into the restaurant. He was already there. He said, these words is what he said. He said, "I know how you feel, and together we will get through this." He shared with me his story. He became a mentor to me. Last Tuesday, just a few days ago, I met with him. I met him in 2002. I've met with him every week since then for 30 to 45 minutes. He has mentored me. He's been there, he's done it, and he shares with me how to do it. One of the greatest things we can do is to have great mentors in our lives and to mentor other people. I encourage every one of you to share what you've experienced, your successes and your failures with others. Be authentic, be transparent, and help other people. The more we give, the more we live. Thank you.